World of Tank Blizzards, it's Littlefinger. Hey, got some exciting news to relay. It's October 2019, and I have been in touch with Wargaming, and I've reached 5,000 subscribers. Thank you all very much. If you haven't, hit it now. And I am going to get a press account for a limited time. I've told them what tanks I'm planning to review. Sorry, most of them are going to be premiums because, as you know, I have most of the non-premium tanks in my garage already. I'm going to do 2 live streams. We can go through as many tanks as you want on those streams. And they've also given me a T23 E3 to give away and 4 7-day premium passes. So I'm going to give those giveaways on those videos once I get access to the press account, because they're going to be coming back and making sure I get the viewership to warrant continuing on the press account. But turning to the garage now, you'll see the Vulcan. This is a tier 7 heavy tank from the Hybrid Nation, the Valkyria Chronicle series of tanks. And heck, I might as well turn over my paycheck to Wargaming at this point in time, right? Yeah, another $60 handed over. I went ahead and did under bundles. I went ahead and did the Valkyrie Chronicle Hero bundle. Now, as you know, if you've seen my garage or me playing, I have the Lupus, Nameless, and Edelweiss already. 3 really good, fun, all very different tanks. So obviously for $60, I'm picking up the Haven and the Vulcan, and I'm getting the 9 slots of equipment filled up on those, plus 4,500 gold for the tanks that I already had. But yeah, it was a bit steep, especially for these tanks, in my opinion, if I'm saying about $30 each. The other tanks right now, if you do go to the shop, are for 7,500 gold. 7,500 gold, is less than $25. So if you want to wait and they, bring this tank back out, I would expect it to be, in that same price range. So obviously you're paying more to be an early subscriber and to have this tank first. So that's a lot of words to talk about this tank. And part of the reason I did decide to buy it is I saw it in game and it just looks cool. All of these spaced armor pieces on the side. It's got not a lot of mobility, and we'll compare it to all of the other tanks. So let's just take a look here real quick at the upgrades. 110 millimeter gun, aim time of 5 seconds, dispersion of 0.4, damage per minute. It's under 1900. I'm not running the gun rammer on it. What am I running on? Let's go ahead and look at the equipment. I am running the gun rammer on it, so that is with the gun rammer. That's pretty sad. Defense system, improved optics, enhanced gun lane drive, enhanced armor, engine accelerator, vertical stabilizer, enhanced tracks, and consumable delivery system is the way I'm running it now. Granted, I've only played a handful of games in it, and I probably will tweak those a little bit as I go through. But again, I just love the look of this tank, and now I want to just compare it to the other tanks in this series. Alright guys, you know the drill. We're on blitzstars.com using Tank Compare, pulled up all the Valkyrie series tanks, why not, and put the Tiger P at the end because I think that is the tank to base tier 7 heavies against. Now, as I mentioned there, 1784 without any equipment on your damage per minute is pretty bad. It's right in line with the Lupus. But if you look at it compared to the Edelweiss or the Haven or even the Nameless there, you're giving up quite a bit of damage per minute. Pen is decent, and it's certainly workable. Of my 5 tanks that I think is the favorite is the Edelweiss, but I'll get more into that as we go into gameplay. And if I can work with 150 millimeter of penetration on that tank, then it can certainly work with the Vulcan. Do note that you do shoot a little bit faster in the Vulcan than the Lupus, and you're not doing quite as much damage. But then when we scroll down here to weapon handling, that aim time is bad, and I did miss a few shots very early because I was not patient enough with that aim time. Throw in that you've only got 6 degrees of gun depression, and it makes it difficult to get into situations where you can really use this Hull's armor. So it is a side-scraping nemesis, and it is a great side-scraping tank. But apart from that, I found it a little bit difficult. And moving on to movement and mobility, I actually felt after driving this about a dozen times that it was slower than the Nameless and Lupus. But on paper, it's right there in line with them. So there's really not a lot of difference in speed with those tanks. But I do prefer faster tanks by far. So looking at the armor under the miscellaneous and extras, I would expect the credit coefficient to be 150% on all of these. So the armor, you've got the best armor in this line, and I think that is kind of what separates this tank from the other ones. You've got all that spaced armor. You don't have to worry so much about these huge tanks with the smashers and the SU-152s and all that are throwing heat and HE around like crazy. So I felt a little bit safer in this tank, but I'm going to talk about my feelings on this tank as we get into some gameplay. All right, so here we are, first game ever in the Vulcan on Mayan Runes Supremacy. And I would like to go B. I feel much more comfortable at B, but the team calls A. So as a team player, I say why not? And 33, 35 kilometers per hour here, and I'm going to get onto the side of this rock so I can get into a nice side scraping position. Turn the tank, and then we'll pull out. We're behind these bushes, not spotted. And so here is that first shot ever with this tank. And it wasn't even anywhere close. So quickly realized here we have got to aim better. Second shot, unfortunately, looked like it was on target, but Tiger P pulled out in front of it. The Type 58 is going to come around way too fast. But you'll see here they've got a Vulcan on the other side, and he's doing the same thing. He is angled quite nicely, and you can see there's a little bit on that front right corner of his that's penetrable. Tiger P looked like he got one through the turret, so I tried as well, and it was not effective. Tiger P is pushing forward. KV2 is not showing me anything. And then you can see here as he pulls back just enough to get that front corner is penetrable. The Y5 comes flying in, rams the Tiger P, and tier 6, not a very big gun, not knowing where to shoot on my tank, and he doesn't do well. This is a bit unfortunate here. I think that shot must have hit the barrel of the dead Tiger P. That's the only thing I can think, but that wasn't anywhere close to where I was aiming. We get a track shot in so that we can back away here, and we're down a tank. Nobody has capped a base. Trade shots there and finish off the AMX. Want to make sure that we are staying away here from that KV2, but like I said, I just feel that if you've got a tank shooting HE, hello, he does a big shot there, that all of this spaced armor is really going to help out. Second shot in, our driver is dead, so we're going a little bit slow. I have no consumables to use at this point in time. Just trying to reload. There's 382, so obviously mostly splash damage there. We're able to repair the modules, but not the driver. So we're still going a little bit slow. MT-25 is going to go all the way around. And I believe there was an IS left, so I'm trying to just back up and get myself with only 37 hit points into a position I can side scrape. Now, I have no idea why my shot doesn't go in on that MT-25, but look at him just spamming HE at me, doing no damage whatsoever. The IS misses his shot. We have bounced over 1,100 damage here in our first game, and we're just trying to stay alive long enough to get one more shot in. IS is going to rush. I can't angle well enough to keep myself alive, but luckily it is now just 2-on-1, and poor MT, I don't know what you're thinking there, but maybe don't shoot HE all the time. But anyway, so you can see there 2608 damage, 921 experience, and we did damage to a lot of those tanks. So second game here, Winter Malinovka. Again, top tier. My preference is going lower bowl here, but I could certainly handle my own going up onto the heavy side, like I showed you before in that last game, how to properly side scrape, and I'll show you some more side scraping towards the end of this game. But you know, this is an interesting spot here that if you're in a tall tank, I like coming here in the smasher, you can actually see over that berm. But you can see a lot of their team is down here, so we're just staying stationary and we're getting a few shots in, waiting for their true heavies to show up. A couple early shots. We're not going to be able to reload in time for the SU-100Y as he comes around, but he does come back, and I don't know why. He was so close that I knew I was going to get spotted after that shot, so I'm going to pull back, get into a more of a hold down position. But since the heavies went all the way up high, I'm not in jeopardy of them pushing me. And now I figure that they're going to crash in towards the cap. You know, we've got a 2-tank advantage at this point in time. And we're going to put this gun depression to use here. So they're all kind of in this corner now. And we're going to go ahead and turn sideways and start side scraping. There's the smasher. We got Lupus there. I want to get another shot into the smasher here. Set him on fire. Take one from the Lupus. He was doing a great job angling that tank there. Now we got some low health tanks, so we're going to take those out first and drop back to reload. Want to get the SU out first. Gonna make him turn around, and then that's gonna be the end of him. Now we go for the impossible shot here on the Lupus and miss the top of the turret there. And unfortunately, we're not going to reload in time to get the side of the turret for the kill. But that close up there, personal with the Lupus, it's hard to get down into the body, and you saw a little bit of the downfall of having only 6 degrees of gun depression. Alright guys, Fort Despair, top tier again. I'm going to show you one more game as bottom tier. But Supremacy, we're going to go A. And, you know, I've played this game about, this tank about 20 games now, and starting to get a much better feel for it. And I am going to have to rate this one a little bit below the Nameless. And while the soft stats on it are pretty good, as you know, as far as a heavy to heavy comparison, I think the fact that it has a slower turret traverse and traverse speed than the Nameless is really what makes this tank feel more sluggish. So it might have higher top speed. It might have a little better armor, which, you know, you could argue about that, because that top plate there that you see I just shot through, it can be difficult to hide that. Whereas in the Nameless, the hull on it is more sloped, so it's kind of a little bit easier to use that to your advantage. Obviously, having all of this spaced armor is certainly nice in these games now, but you know, so just getting to those numbers, the Nameless has 33 degrees on the turret traverse, where this tank has 28. And you know, you're like, that's not too much, but it does feel like a big difference. They both have fairly small turret fronts. You can see there, so it can be difficult if you're hull down. And then there's only 2 degrees difference in the traverse speeds between these two tanks. But like I said, there we go in, and we'll get their Vulcan out. We've got 2 kills. You can see we've blocked over 500 in damage so far. And really in these top tier games, we rarely have to use APCR. So that's another cost savings to this tank. So I would say, you know, it does perform really well, but I'm going to just give the nod to the Nameless over this one. As we come in here and just close this game out with our 3rd kill and 2,800 in damage. Alright guys, let's jump into this last game here on Port Bay. And yeah, this is the only game I'm going to show here as bottom tier, but I think what you'll see throughout this game is the lack of accuracy on this gun and the amount of bounces that this tank can generate even as bottom tier. So team's going across to the river here. First shot is into the dirt. You know, that was kind of snapped in there without aiming, and you really just cannot get away with that in this tank. That bloom there is just too big. Hitting a moving target, the shell velocity is sitting at just over 800, so it's nothing worth writing home about. It's, you know, certainly not OP in that regard. So as far as my recommendation on this tank, obviously this is a tank that you would buy, I guess, if you're collecting the Valkyrie series tanks. But seeing that they've got the other 3 tanks out there for 7,500 gold, you know, I would recommend just waiting on this tank. Wait till it comes back out later. You know it will at some point in time. And you can get it for about $10 cheaper than what they're selling it now, or a third or 2/3 of the cost that it is now. So anyway, that was kind of a painful trade of shots there. And we're going to trade another one, but we do take out the T-28. Now we'll see here. A tier 8 super heavy, the KV. No, we can't even penetrate that, so we'll take our shot at the Blaze. So we're going to back up here. We've got the Patton, the 59 Patton overhead of us. It's got a great turret, but it does have that little commander's hatch at the top that is penetrable. And just note the amount of times that he bounces off of us here. So we switch over to APCR to get a shot into the KV-4, but he bounces us. The Patton is still up there being a nuisance. Dracula has dropped down to the river. It's a 4-on-4 situation. However, Patton is a one-shot, and I really wanted to get down there and help those guys at the bottom of the river, but this Patton really is keeping me from doing that, and I'm too slow. The SU is going to cross in front of me, and I forget that I've still got APCR loaded, so we're only going to do 245 instead of our 300 roll, which was a shame. But that Patton's anxious for the kill on me, and there is that bounce. He doesn't survive it, and we finish with the last kill shot there. So 770 and bounce shots, 2,000 damage, even as bottom tier. So overall, you know, this, I had no, in all of the games I played that I was bottom tier, I didn't have hardly any problems with pen, very few APCR shots. So I think that is a positive. Again, like I said, the turret speed and the traverse speed are the slowest of these heavies in this series. So that was a negative for me. But overall, I think this is going to be a solid tank. I do expect to get penetrated a little bit more when people start learning where the weak spots are. That's fairly typical. It happened with the Lupus as well. But overall, again, I guess my recommendation here is hold off, wait until it comes back around, and get it on the cheap. So, hope you guys make a wise decision. Let me know what you have done. If you want to show some gameplay on this tank, I'll try to get it up. But remember to hit that subscribe button, guys. Help me. New goal, 10K, right? As always, have fun out there. Stay safe. Get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.